Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Dragons and Warriors Lore, where we give you history into the world of Darmus, all the magic, mystery, adventure, everything you can find right here. Today, we start with the history of the 100-year span after the end of the Second Armor Clad War to the present day, where our party is on their adventures now. I bring to you the return to Darmus, the history of the world after the Second Armor Clad War. On the final day of battle, the inhabitants of Darmus against the devastating Armorclad, Vortex, god of time, sacrificed himself to save his children, the elves. Expending all his energy, he created a shield around Erowin, protecting them from the effects his death would soon create. The Armorclad would be wiped from memory. Those inside the shield would remember, while those outside would slowly forget, allowing their destruction to fade into myth and legend. Within 3 months of that final day, Crom, one of the mighty heroes who fought for Darmus, is taken to the mountains by Zarasis, the beginner, to live out his days. These mountains make up the borders of Avaris, Hammerfell, and Gnome, kingdoms to the humans, dwarves, and gnomes respectively. Crom's wounds from that war are great, both physically and mentally. There, he lives alone. Within 2 years of that final battle, a council of the races is formed. Human, dwarf, gnome, minotaur, and elf come together to attempt to form a multi-kingdom alliance, for if the Armorclad were to come again, they would be ready. Those hopes were short-lived. Within days, talks began to stall as all representatives only cared about selfish things, what they had done for the world of Darmus during the war, what they could get out of these talks to make themselves better, more powerful, and ultimately, who would gain control of the Rebuilder, the key to the world engine, that which had saved them once before. Now you see, the Rebuilder was designed with a specific purpose, to save the world against the might of the Armorclad. Now in that regard, it succeeded, but in uniting the world, it failed. When talks nearly break down completely, Florin Bornsmith, Dark Mage of the Elves, offers to take the Rebuilder. He knows that no one nation can hold that type of power. None of them can be trusted. The nations unanimously disagree, knowing full well that Florin's previous exploits show he himself is untrustworthy. They fear he would use the Rebuilder for his own designs, but ultimately, they know if Florin takes the machine, they'll never see it again. The power of the world engine would be out of their reach and in the hands of who they see as a madman. In an uncharacteristic move, Zarasis, the beginner, the first dragon on Darmus and sworn protector of balance in the world, sides with Florin. Even he is denied. The dragon is above the meddlings of elves, humans, dwarves, minotaur, and gnome, and knows that the Rebuilder must leave with Florin. Under the cover of night, Florin and Zarasis take the Rebuilder somewhere safe, a place only they know. When the council learns of the treachery, all talks cease. Erowin seals its borders, which remain closed to this day. Florin and Zarasis' thievery is seen as selfish and conspiratorial, but they know something the races of Darmus do not. What that is remains a secret, even to this day. Because of these events, a long friendship between Zarasis and Gilifus, the noble, is now, at best, on shaky ground. Gilifus is now in league with the elves, while Zarasis attempts to maintain neutrality while also helping Florin with the Rebuilder. Now, there is something to be said about the Rebuilder. There's not just one, but a few. Each rebuilder constructed remains as a key to unlocking a different facet of the world engine, and in doing so, erasing one race in its entirety. The elves know this, and they also know that they are the only ones in control of the remaining rebuilders. This is the reason they have closed their borders, to hide what they have. In a vain attempt to enact elven superiority, they attempt to either activate the remaining rebuilders or to reverse engineer their own to use as a weapon against those less than elf. With all of this, nearly 20 years have passed since that last day of war, but the drums beat on the horizon. Gogolar, the Beastmen, begin to mass along the borders of Avaris. At first, it's small towns, settlements that are attacked. This takes nearly 10 years before all of Avaris masses in what is known as the Great Gogolar War. During this time, the Orc also start their ongoing campaign against the Minotaur, and the dwarves begin the slow process of overtaking Nome. This era is known as the loss of time. From this moment, Vortex's sacrifice begins to take effect. Those who live with memory of the events of the Second Armor Clad War live shorter lives, while those born after have their lives extended, though not greatly. Memories begin to fade into myth and legend. The war between the Minotaur and the Orc continues to this day. The Great Gogolar War lasted nearly 7 years, but took another 3 to remove most of the Gogolar from Avaris. This marks the beginning of the Age of Renewal, which is now coming to an end in our present day. During the Age of Renewal, the dwarves have taken this time to secure a foothold in Nome, effectively turning it into a puppet state. The dwarves have also started their campaign into the southern portions of the desert, staking their claim. Also, during this age, the Orc have successfully overrun Keratin Kaioplan, the capital city of the Minotaur. The once mighty beasts of Darmus is now destroyed, a testament to the final stand of the once mighty Minotaur. Thousands of Minotaur make a mass exodus across the desert. Many are lost to the sands. Those that are left are attempting to regroup in a fort once ruled by Grendel, brother-in-arms to Korg, king of Avaris. The Minotaur are now a shell of what they once were as a race. Nobody wants them in their lands, save for a small group of politicians in Browning. Regal Hornsbane, exiled from his homeland, now defends the throne of Avaris as its protector, and is once again a voice for his people. The next 60 years brings us to the beginning of our story.